that what we were talking about earlier off of before we started podcast and everything with what's
Uh-huh.
going on with you and everything like that, what you
Mm-hmm.
are championing and celebrating about.
Mm-hmm.
Um my question is and is going to be, can you get PTSD from these hoes?
Um,
And I think I have PTSD from these hoes.
so I wanna I want to make sure so you're the gangster and I'm the gentleman, so I'll be politically correct. So
Hey,
what Jay is saying,
we can switch up either way on this, because right now you and your gangster shit this year. So yeah, I'll let you be gangster.
so
It don't matter.
no, it's cool. Now I was saying, so PTSD from relationships, basically. Absolutely, sir. You can have post-traumatic stress disorder from being in a traumatizing, stressful relationship. You absolutely can, because really everything is about relationships. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can have PTSD from your childhood. You can have PTSD from experiences you have, obviously in the military, obviously as in any kind of profession that there's a high risk to your mortality, or there's a high risk to your uh, um, mental stress and so forth and so on. You can have PTSD, and so definitely if you're in a relationship that excuse me, is continually um, emotionally draining, continually emotionally imbalanced, and so forth and so on. After a while, those things do affect you. Now, typically, you don't feel it while you're in it.
Right,
You just think it's relationship issues. You just think it's relationship problems, right? Normal,
right,
everyday stuff.
yeah.
But once it's over with and done, and you go through all of these, like this myriad of emotions, and depend on the level of the relationship too, right? Um, if it's a deeply rooted and involved relationship, a lot of that stuff starts to come out when you
In your new
after,
relationship.
like, in your, there you go, in your new relationships, and then you don't realize it but you automatically assume it's the person, but not how you're responding or you're reflecting on what you have already experienced. And I think a lot of people have that, and I don't think,
do you real
male and female.
do you realize in the new relationship you become who your ex was? Do you realize
Yeah,
that?
and in several cases you do. So
So
what
like
happens
you
is,
can be in a full new relationship, and you can
mhm,
be the person,
yeah,
you can be who your ex was in your previous
yeah,
relationship.
yeah,
How
yeah,
your ex was treating you in that
hmm,
relationship, you can
yeah,
become that person who
yeah,
is treating your new
yeah.
relationship like that person was treating you.
Right. It's a cycle of dysfunction, right? So if you grow up in a household, right, that's a dysfunctional household, typically the way that parent relates to that child is how that parent was related to when they were a child. You know what I'm saying? If they
Right.
don't heal from it and address it and move on from it, typically it becomes cyclical. So in relationships, it's the same. It's the same thing. In relationships, it's cyclical as well, unless
Whoa,
we break.
cyclical. Is this a new word?
Listen,
This was the
uh,
word for the day in your app?
yeah, it was. Thank you.
Spell cyclical and use it in this. Well, you just using this sentence. Never mind.
I just use it in a sentence, sir.
Continue, sir.
CYC
Continue, sir.
LI. Oh, okay, thank God for spelling.
Oh,
So
word
anyway,
ass nigga.
read rainbow faces. So
LeVar Burton looking ass nigga. Speaking of, you which that nigga want to be on Jeopardy now, but yeah,
it makes sense.
we'll circle back around to
Yeah,
that, but yeah.
yeah, that would probably make sense for him to be on there. But it becomes cyclical, and it's just a cycle of hurt. What they say, hurt people, right? And so when you
I don't
don't
think
heal
people
from stuff
realize that
like
they
that,
do it though.
no, you don't. You really don't. You have to. You have to face yourself and say, okay, I allowed some of, most of, or whatever of this, and since I did that, it affected me, and then I started to, lose control, like feeling like I had no control over the situation. But then when I finally left it or whatever you say, and then you start doing something new, and then you start representing those same things that happened to you, it's almost like you feel like you're empowered now. You know what I'm saying? But it's really an act of cowardice, to be honest. It's really an act of cowardice because that new person becomes collateral damage. You know what I'm saying?
And
And
that's
so
the reason. And that's the
it,
reason why you're supposed to have some time in between relationships. But jump in and up
absolutely,
out of them jumps like double dutch and shit.
absolutely. And this is why people wind up being hurt so much, is because they're not really ready for a relationship. They're just comfortable being in one because they don't want to be by themselves. They don't want to face themselves, right? Nobody wants to, feel like, nobody wants to go through that process
But
of
shit, do
actually
you really?
healing. You know what I'm saying?
But I'll say this: do you really? Well, I'm gonna say, do you? I'm sure you know, but I'll say listeners. The listeners, do you know when you do this? You like, well, I don't know. Everybody don't know this analogy that I'm going to use, but you are here like Zartan. you so many different faces and so many different people at a time. It's like,
yeah.
At some point you don't even know how to handle yourself after a while because you so many different people. But yeah, you actually need to decompress from a relationship for a minute to get back to you instead of, I guess, regurgitating what somebody did to you or on you or something like that, if I'm wording it correctly. But like I was realizing I had did something the other day. What was like last week. And when I did it, I was like, the fuck? And it was something that someone else did to me, and how I did and responded was just like that. I'm like, and it's like I said, you become that person. It's even like if you are a person who just like a negative Nancy in the relationship.
Right.
You probably was that positive person throughout that whole relationship with that person, right? You go to a new relationship, guess who the negative Nancy is?
It's you.
Yo, And when somebody bring it to your attention, you'll be like, man, you a lie. I'm positive all the time. Blah, 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 blah. No, If you step back and look at it, then you like, well, I guess I am complaining all the time when I come around her. You know what I'm saying? It's like,
And again, it's an act of cowardice because now you're taking out on the new person, which you failed to take out on the last person.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And so you're taking out stuff on somebody who really is not going to do nothing to you, at least initially, right? Or you're going to set yourself up for them to do something to you. And now you passed on that same stuff on to somebody else who had really good intentions.